cameras. You know who it is, you know what time it is. Your boy Savage, aka Sev Cisneros. You tune in the Sev Lokes Hood Tales. Like, comment, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell. Let's get to the politic. Big shout out to everybody showing the channel love. Appreciate the love and support. Thank you for the interactions. Mall high salute to the real ones. Before I start this video, I am no way means promoting gang culture or the gang life. I'm just telling a testimony, giving some life experiences, and I'm shining some light on the Denver Metro. So with that being said, let's get to this video, man. And in this video, I kind of want to piggyback off of my last video. My last video, it was about Eastside Denver and 5 Points being the mecca of Crippin'. And to this day, it will always be known as the mecca of Crippin'. So I had a couple of comments, and one of the comments was talking about Montbello and how when politics hit the Denver Metro, Montbello had a big population of Crips, and you didn't really see Bloods over there. And that is very much true, because I remember Calos, they called it the Calos. They didn't even call Montbello or Ballos, they called it the Calos. Early 90s and 2000s, man, it seemed like Montbello, you know, the whole population was Crips, and you didn't really see a lot of Bloods over there. And I remember Falcon Park, the Crips used to be deep over there, and they used to have, you know, in the summertime, you know, they had their politics over there. When the Lil Wayne wave hit, you started seeing a lot of, you know, migration of Bloods going to Montbello. And they got a face over there, you know, they got, you know, a handful of Blood hoods over there. And, you know, now it's Crips and Bloods, you know. And to be honest, you know, Montbello, they might have some Crips and Bloods kicking with each other. I heard of that also, you know. So it's changed from, you know, the 90s and early 2000s. Aurora also, when Crippin' hit, you know, Aurora was a big area that a lot of Cali Crips went over there. And, you know, the population was more Crips than anything over the years. You know, them kind of doing Denver different. You had Bloods start migrating over there, and now to this day you can actually find everything over there. Crips, Bloods, GDs, Sudanos, whatever gang you're gonna find in Aurora. East Denver 5 Points kept the original face of Keyways, and to this day, you know, you ain't gonna find no Blood hoods over there. It's just gonna be East Side and, you know, fools that are still over there. And now, don't get me wrong, the East Side has changed a lot, and they kicked a lot of families out from over there. So it's not like the 90s and 2000s where you're gonna have fools on the block patrolling the hood. You know, back in the day, I could remember, like in the 90s and early 2000s, there was fools over there by the cage, and they be riding bikes patrolling the hood, you know. And it was, you know, 30th and Gilpin was a treacherous area to even walk over if you wasn't from over there, man. There was fools over there on the block out and about. You know, nowadays they cleaned up the East Side, and it's, you know, it's a little more safer for sure. But to this day, there's no, you know, no hoods from the Bloods that moved over there and set up shop. But with that being said, there was, you know, a couple names and families that did not take on the Crip face, and actually they went the opposite way. Now people know these names as being linked with a bad case after a while. Boom and Bang. You want to know about these dudes, their case and all that? That's a different story for a different time. But you can go look at Mile High Devils. You can go look at, you know, what they did and what they went to the penitentiary for, and it was horrendous, you know. But we're not going to talk about that. We're just going to talk about when they were in the East Side and their get down over there. So Boom and Bang family members, they had family that lived on 27th in California. When the Crips had came to the East Side, they got into it with Crips from the east side, and they got embedded with hatred for Crippin'. So they had some ties to Park Hill Crenshaw Mafia fools, and they decided to start up Deuce 7 Bloods, like a chapter off of CMG's, and they tried to take it to the east side, and they were hella active. These are the fools that would get CKs tatted on them, whacked out CKs, and they were about that action. Like I know numerous fools that had run-ins with them fools in the east side. You know, they didn't have a long time running in the east side, but they did try to start their neighborhood in the east side, and there was just too many fools around them that, you know, that was keyways. There was different neighborhoods from the east side that bang Crip. You had, you know, the Comptons down the block on 29th in Arapahoe, so they got into it with them fools. They got into it east side Denver Crips, and at that time too, even the ESGs, they used to rock Baby Blue, and the whole area was just Crip down. So I think it was a little too much for them, so they got smart and they started migrating towards the west side of Denver, and they started actually putting fools on. Now, these fools were alpha males when it came to gang banging, that when they went to the west side, you know, them being east side fools, because Boom and Bang was east siders, like they were born and raised over there. When they went to the west side, they had the influence, you know, on fools, because they had ties to Park Hill and all that, and them fools started up, you know, a big chapter of Deuce 7 Bloods. And Deuce 7 Bloods, you know, they have a big face in the west side. You know, there's a lot of west side Deuce 7 Bloods, but it was all started from some east side fools that just didn't get along with some Crips over there, and, you know, they made a whole wave. You know, so it's crazy, man. If you want to read up on their story, go check it out. Boom and Bang, those were, you know, names that rang bells in the east side, because they were all for the gunplay. They were all, you know, they were all for getting active, and they held their own. Now, don't get me wrong, there's stories about, you know, fools in the east side, you know, knocking them fools out and different things, but it never, you know, swayed them away from being Don Moose, you know, even being surrounded 1,001. They did their thing, you know, and they got pushed out of the east side because there was just too many Crips, and they went to the west and started that whole chapter of Deuce 7 Bloods. And I can remember, you know, in about 2004, because my neighborhood is from 27th and Arapahoe. That's the crazy part. We from 27 Arapahoe, right there, 26, 27 Arapahoe. The projects are right there. Brick City family's right there from Deuce 7. We represent Deuce 700, you know what I'm saying, 2700, and they represent 27 Bloods. So that conflict also. So after politics picked up, some of my homies started beefing with them fools over 27. You know what I'm saying? And the homies were tripping over them banging 27 block Bloods because it was Deuce 7 block Brick Cities. So after I got out the penitentiary, some of the little homies, they started tripping with some of the Deuce 7 Bloods over it, you know. And then I remember running into a Deuce 7 Blood in CMRC, and he did music, and that fool was hella respectful because of the Deuce 7, you know. And fools would be like, "Damn, you fools, you know, one of you fools is with the Keyways and you Deuce 7s, and then, you know, you're a Deuce 7 Blood." So it was interesting, homie. Like, it was wild, but yeah, you know. So they were east side fools, born and raised, and they started a chapter in the west side. You know what I'm saying? So, mall high salutes to the homies. Mall high salutes to the interactions. You know what it is. Let's go.